Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. We are on episode 10 of Ace of the Diamond, and let me just say, way back when episodes 1 through 3 premiered on YouTube, YouTube commenter Nyaj, I hope I spelled that, I hope I pronounced that right, said, "Oh, just wait till you meet the Patrick Swayze of this series, Chris." And at the time I was like, the Patrick Swayze? But you're right! Can I call him Roadhouse now? I don't know. But, oh man, Chris as the Patrick Swayze of this series. Yes, I was a big fan of Miyuki, and friendship with Miyuki is still intact. And then Furuya came along, and I was like, okay, I'm friends with both Miyuki and Furuya now. And then Chris came along, and I was like, is there room for 3? Because I really like Chris's character. He's kind of a weird combination between... He's kind of like Ushijima from Haikyuu in that he is super stoic, kind of, but I relate a lot of his character dilemmas more with Haiji from Run with the Wind, because Chris not only has this injury to move past, and kind of like Sosuke from Free, he has this injury to move past. He has that to worry about. He's a third year, so he wants to play his final year of high school, so he's got that to worry about. And then on top of everything, I think the part that makes me relate him to Haiji from Run with the Wind the most is that his father is pressuring him to get better and do the physical therapy so that he can compete in college. He's like, don't worry about high school, just focus on the future. And it's like, we don't know for sure. I mean, obviously I think Chris wants to keep playing, but I think he's getting pulled in a lot of directions, and I'm actually glad that it seems like the coach and the staff there at the high school aren't pushing him too. Like, they get that he's under a lot of pressure already from his father, and so they're like, you just do the physical training and just be in second string and it's fine. So I feel bad for Chris and his character, but I'm also happy that he is Sawamura's, that he's Asian's teacher, because he needs to be. Our sweet boy Sawamura, he's kind of like a cross between Hinata and Sakuragi. He's super positive and upbeat and has that go-to attitude, but the boy needs some help. He needs some coaching, and Chris is the one that has the most knowledge on the team, according to Ray, the recruiter, so it makes sense that Chris is the one to guide him. And so I'm really excited to see more, hopefully, with Chris and how he guides Sawamura throughout this series. But yeah, so we got introduced to his character. Sawamura had a very bad day, and so did Furuya. And so both of them kind of bonded and came together at the end of episode 9, both having that mutual understanding that, yeah, today sucked, but we're going to train, and hopefully tomorrow won't be so bad. So I really like this series so far. I'm pretty excited about it. And we're doing episodes 10, 11, and 12 today. So episode 10 is Hone Your Moving Fastball. So moving fastball, I'm assuming that's what Sawamura has, right? So we've established Furuya can throw really good fastballs. And then Tanba, the current ace of the team, is really consistent and kind of, I think, does curveballs. So the question is, what is Sawamura's? If it's a moving fastball, is it something kind of in the middle? How does that work? I don't know. But we're going to find out. So, thank you all so much for watching. I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. But yeah, let's get into this, shall we? We are going to start episode 10 of Ace of the Diamond here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, this episode just cut you in the feels, right? Oh my gosh. It's official. I love Chris. I love him. He's amazing. He's got like a little twinge of crazy in him, which I'm okay with. I think everybody needs a little twinge of crazy. And Chris definitely has that. But his character, oh my gosh. Episode 11 has been my favorite episode of this series so far. Oh my gosh, it's been so good. We'll talk about Kai. Was it Zyken? Was his name Zyzen? That bastard. We'll talk about him in a minute. But oh my gosh, there's so much to like about these 3 episodes. So much to like. First of all, talking about Chris, I love that we establish that Chris has been here 3 years. So when his dad, I talked about this before the reaction, like his dad has this goal in mind where he's going to build up and go overseas to America to play baseball. And he's like, you're just building this up. It's fine. And it sounds like his dad came over to Japan to play baseball, and now he's going to take Chris with him back to America. And that's great and all. He's like, you could just quit school. But it's like, quitting school for Chris is harder than just saying it, because it's not just baseball, the sport itself, but it's the friends that he's made. Like him and Tonba having these moments where they're like, hey, remember when we were like Furuya and Sawamura back when we were first years? Yeah, like the friendship with him and with Miyuki, like who looks up to him so much, like, and then now Sawamura who looks up to him so much. It's like Chris doesn't just have the sport, he has all these friendships and memories, and it's hard to just expect him to just quit high school early and leave, you know? So I really empathize with Chris a lot in his plight, because he's like, yeah, I realize I've got opportunity over there, but I kind of want to see this through and end it first. So Kokudo-ken, I think I said that right, who they're facing for this game, Zaizen, this bastard. I noticed that Zaizen did not carry his own bag, like he made the underclassmen carry it. So I was thinking, when this episode first started, I was like, okay, does Zaizen have an injury that he's trying to cover up by having the younger underclassmen carry the bags? Is he just doing that to hide the injury and just come off as a dick? But then, by the end of episode 12, I'm like, maybe he's just a dick. Maybe he's just that awful of a person, and he's just making him do it because he can. I don't know. But yeah, we'll talk more about Zaizen with episode 12, but he's just kind of like a looming presence in the background for a lot of this. And the coach for his team seems to tolerate him, so either he's really, really good, or he's kind of like a Chris figure. He's like their version of Chris, and he gives good advice, and he's a competent player, and the coach is just like, he's a third year, let him go. But I really like the subtle friendship that is developing between Furuya and Sawamura. Like, it's very subtle. Like, they're just slowly interacting. And Furuya seems to be really only concerned about baseball and pitching to Miyuki. Like, he really doesn't, he wants to play again so bad. And he's kind of like, I like that him and Sawamura have the same devotion and intensity towards baseball, but they come at it from two totally different perspectives and ways. Like, Sawamura is just bursting with this over-the-top fiery chihuahua energy where he's like, I just need to go. Like, he's so hyper. And Furuya, instead of being like hyper and sunny and Furuya's like the moon. He's very like calm and intense with his pressure. Like, Sawamura is like literally banging down your door to get in, and Furuya is just slowly pushing on the door over and over again and not stopping. Like, they both have this intense pressure, but it's from different angles. Like, Sawamura is the sunny, crazy energy, and Furuya is the quiet, intense energy. But they both are totally devoted to the game. And I like that at this point, Furuya's like, I'll run with you with these tires. And Sawamura's like, meh. It's like, Aijun, you have a new friend. You just don't even realize it yet. But I really, really like that. I was going to say Sawamura, and I commented at the end of this, Sawamura is kind of like Eren from Attack on Titan, kind of. And I'm only like 4 episodes into Attack on Titan, so don't spoil me. But he's kind of like Eren, where he's not the most talented person, but he's got the most enthusiasm, and he wants the goal more than anyone, you know. So I like that, and I like that Chris appreciates that intensity, and he's like, yes. And a week passes, and Sawamura takes Chris's words to heart and does the training menu. And I like in episode 10 where he was like, you've done all this to help me? It's like, no, duh, Baka. Of course he has. He wasn't doing it to make fun of you. And Sawamura has like a genuine respect for Chris. Like Chris-Senpai, like the respect that Sawamura has for this man, it's so endearing and wonderful. And Chris is just, it's like, I'll grovel at your feet, sir, because you're amazing. But yeah, so there's a really cool little moment where Haruichi's brother is talking with the other catcher, and Chris is having possibly the chance to come in and play, and Ryosuke is like, you know, are you worried about Chris coming back in the first string? And he's like, I've got to keep practicing so that doesn't happen. And Ryosuke is like, yeah, I know what you mean. So I wonder, they mention here, they throw in the subtle little foreshadowing about Haruichi being just as good as his brother. And his brother's a third year. So I'm like, is Ryosuke kind of scared that Haruichi's going to come in and take his spot? I don't know. The third years that are the first string players, they all kind of have a big they have a lot of clout, and they come in like a unit, and they just look badass. And so Ryosuke always has his eyes closed, so it's kind of hard. I didn't notice that. Yeah, Ryosuke and Haruichi, you can't see their eyes, either one. Ryosuke always has his eyes closed, and Haruichi's eyes are covered with his hair. So that's interesting. Interesting indeed. But yeah, Haruichi is totally on board with... I like that Chris creates this play. My notes here, I'm looking at my notes. But Chris comes up with this very risky play, and Chris likes it risky. And I like that. I'm like, oh, he's a gambler. All right. And Haruichi, everybody else is kind of like deterred. They're like, this is really scary. And Haruichi's like, let's do this. So Haruichi likes a little chaotic riskiness too, which is good. But yeah, the Ryosuke with his brother, like overthinking, possibly tearing it over. We talked about that. Yeah, episode 11. I freaking love this episode. It's my favorite of the whole series. The whole buildup of Chris coming onto the field, the music, everything, with the coach realizing that Chris is going to draw out the best in Sawamura if they want to see what he can do. And the sad thing is that this Zaizen guy coming in, I have the feeling is going to push Chris to his limits. And I'm like, are you going to undo all this physical therapy, and then what? And Chris has pretty much resigned himself to be like, I'm just coming in for this game to help prove, Sawamura, that you're good enough for first string. So I have a feeling that Chris is, to his word, going to just play in this game and then be on the sidelines. And it's going to be Sawamura and Haruichi. I could be wrong, but that makes me so sad because we see like what a good duo that they make, but also you could kind of tell when Chris told Miyuki, he's like, come to the bullpen. You need to see how this kid pitches because you're going to be the one catching it. Also, Miyuki, when everybody like starts to go to the game, Miyuki was already gone. He's like already gone. He ran over there to catch it. Hat still sideways like a boss, which is hilarious. But you could tell Miyuki was like, I need to come see this. And it's like, that was really, really good. So I like that Miyuki gets to interact in the bullpen with Sawamura and Chris, because there is that really awkward moment. And what I appreciate about Sawamura, what I appreciate about him is he is very self-reflective after the fact. He does a lot of foot and mouth moments, especially towards the beginning of this series, but he is reflective and he tries to correct and not do the same stupid thing twice. He still does stupid things, but he tries at least to be self-aware. And I like in that moment, one, in episode 10, that he recognized what he had said to Chris, and he's like, why did I do that? And then he recognizes again in episode 11 what he said to Miyuki, and he's like, that was so stupid. I'm so ashamed. Like, I talked about Chris not working as hard as everybody else, and clearly he's sitting here doing his best and helping me. He's like, I should never have said those things. And so he feels like it's awkward around Miyuki, but Miyuki seems to have already moved past it. Whereas Sawamura seems to dwell on emotions and past events, Miyuki seems to work past things pretty quickly. Miyuki does not seem like someone to hold a grudge. He's just like, you pissed me off, I'm going to leave for a while and go take 5 and then come back. So that was interesting. But yeah, I hope that that makes me feel better knowing that there's a good chance Sawamura and Miyuki will mend their fences with one another. Like, that makes me feel a lot better. And then, yeah, so before we talk about episode 12, I want to talk about KA on YouTube. One of the commenters told me about some of the voice actor information, which I was listening to kind of this episode. There's some things that blow my mind. The one thing that doesn't blow my mind is that the same voice actor for Geto in Jujutsu Kaisen is the voice actor for Miyuki. And I like Miyuki because he's a troll and a chaotic gremlin, and it's fitting that Geto is voicing him. The voice actor for Geto is voicing him. And so I could kind of hear a little bit of Geto and that schemingness in his voice, which was cool. There's 2 voice actors, though, that completely throw me for a loop. One is Kuramochi. So Kuramochi is the loud-mouthed roommate of Sawamura with the green hair that has the mullet that is extremely loud-mouthed and kind of like, nah, nah, nah. His voice actor is the same voice actor for Ugetsu in Given. What? What? How? I'm so floored. I'm like, excuse me? That just blows my mind that it's the same voice actor. Like, what the heck? So, yeah. Who knew? The other thing that blows my mind is that the voice actor for Sawamura, our lead man, is the voice actor for Akashi in Haikyuu. If you had told me he was the voice actor for Bokuto, I would have believed you, because him and Bokuto have that, like, hey, 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 loud, obnoxious energy. But Akashi? What? Blowing my mind. Blowing it. I'm like, that is just so cool. But okay, episode 12 is called Target, and the target, we now know, is not Sawamura. The target is Chris, because Zaizen has realized that we can't throw off this kid Sawamura. He's, one, way too oblivious. He's not going to be on to the tactics that we're trying to throw him off. And two, he's a wild card anyway. So, no. The reason Sawamura is doing so well is because of Chris. So we need to throw Chris off. And that's a dirty move, especially because he knows that Chris is injured. Zaizen said that they were rivals back in high school. They're rivals with one another, which makes me wonder what Zaizen, if he's a pitcher maybe? If he's a pitcher, perhaps? I don't know. But he is like, we were rivals in high school and since junior high. He's been out for a year. Like, he can't, he's not up to full form. Let's take him down now. So I'm like, dude, that's pretty messed up that you're aiming for him. Like, that's playing dirty for sure. And saying you're going to destroy him. But joke's on you. This is Chris's only game he's planning on playing. So what do you expect? But that's still, like, such a dick move. And I'm like, Zaizen, I don't know if I like you. You seem like a jerk. And you don't seem redeemable at this point, so you better prove it to me that you've got some redeeming qualities. I'm going to have to look now in the OP to see if he was in the OP. I think he was. But I'll have to look with episode 13. But I like that Haruichi, he is a batting prodigy. So we're getting all these prodigies. We're getting Furuya as a pitcher prodigy. We're getting Haruichi as a batting prodigy, which is cool. And they make the subtle gesture that he controls the bat and he might be better than his brother. So it's like, And then I cannot begin to tell y'all how much I loved when Chris was like, shut up, your life is stupid. I'm like, it's like such an audience surrogate moment because Sawamura has such a Hanamichi vibe to him. Like, that laugh is very Sakuragi Hanamichi. Very like, like very, very similar. Hanada doesn't really have that same laugh. He's just got kind of more like an intense scariness to him. But Chris reminds me a lot in Slam Dunk of Mitsui. And Mitsui's story, especially at the end of episode 12, when Zaizen's like, he's missed a year. Missing a year of practice is not easy to make up. And that reminded me a lot about Mitsui in Slam Dunk, because in Slam Dunk, Mitsui misses 2 years of basketball and then has to try to make it up. And everyone establishes, including Mitsui, that it's not easy to do. So I thought that was really interesting. I thought that was a cool comparison. And I am worried that this is Chris's last game. I'll tell you what, though. I'm glad that the scene with his dad in episode 12 went a lot better than I thought it was going to go. Because as soon as Chris got taken into episode 11 and put on the field, I was like, this is awesome. I love this. I absolutely love where this is going. But I'm really worried his dad is going to show up and make a scene and make a big deal about this. And it's going to be angst for angst's sake. And it's going to be bad. And his dad does show up. And his dad is really mad at first. But what I like is by the end of it, his dad keeps going back and flashing back to him as a competitor. And when people were telling him he was doing too much, he's like, no, baseball is my life. And if I can't practice, I can't play. And if I can't play, then what's the point? And you get that flashback and see how he's realizing his son thinks the exact same way. And so that was so wonderful when his dad's like, Chris looks like he's expected to get yelled at. And then his dad is like, good luck. Just good luck in this game. And it's like, all the feels. I absolutely love it. It's so wonderful. But yeah, I'm going to be really, really sad if these episodes are the only ones we really get to see Chris play in. I'm going to be really sad. I hope that he at least maybe stays on as a second string character and maybe comes in for relief. I don't know, but I don't want this to be the last of Chris in the next series of episodes. I want him to stay on because he's such a wonderful character, and I love him. Like, I love Miyuki. Haruichi and Sawamura, you guys are great. Kuromochi, you're great. Masuka, you're great. Tamba, you're great. But Miyuki, I'm totally in the Miyuki fan club, but there's something about Chris-Senpai just cuts to my core. And I'm a sucker for a player with injuries. What can I say? I'm a sucker. Haiji and Run with the Wind. Oikawa, even though his injury was like a one episode only thing, If Mitsui, and I'm a sucker for it, and this is no exception. So yeah. But in any case, these episodes were great. Episode 11 is still my favorite so far. I'm very curious to know what you all thought of these episodes and what you guys think of this series, because I'll be honest, this series has surprised me, like learning about the pitching positions, like about the foot and where the arm goes and the towel. And that's the other thing too. The coach is, one, badass, but I like that as a pitcher, the coach knows kind of what to tell Sawamura to help him the best, which is really, really cool. And I like that they've been doing those warm-ups, the towel warm-up, and realizing Sawamura is a lefty. He's a southpaw, so it's like, cool. He has that going for him. And yeah, I really like the coach is not being lenient, but being understanding. Like, he knows what needs to be done to win, and he's trying to do that right now. So I appreciate that. I'm going to be curious. This is the third inning, so after this inning, they're probably going to take Chris and Sawamura out. And so my wonder is, how much damage is Zaizen going to do to not Chris physically, but emotionally draining him, like, in this inning? So, because right now they're not in a good spot. They got a runner on first and third, and they got 2 outs, but what do? Or they have 1 out. They only have 1 out, and they have a runner on first and third. So unless you can make a double play, you're going to give up a run, probably. So that's going to be curious to see what happens when we go back to that episode. But yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys thought. This series, I've learned a lot, and it's gone in some different directions than I thought it would, which I really, really appreciate. And another thing, I keep thinking, we watched 3 episodes, so I have a lot to talk about, but I keep forgetting little things that I didn't write on my Post-it. The third years that were out in the outfield that were saying, we may never get to play being on a team this big, but that doesn't mean that we can't give it our all and give our team, some encouragement and be there for our team players, even if we don't get to play. And that's really, really cool. When I did competitive public speaking, when we got to nationals, there was a good chance that, you speak on your own, but you're a team. But there's a good chance that, you break into quarterfinals and then semifinals and then finals, etc. And then our coach was always like, if you don't break, meaning if you don't get into quarterfinals or semifinals or whatever, you still are part of this team. So you still go and support your teammates, and you still give them as much positive energy as possible. Our coaches were like, you don't go and sulk and lament that you didn't make it to where you wanted to. He's like, there's no time for that. You go support your team, because your team is more important than you sulking. And I always liked that, because it was really good moral support for the team, that we all were banding together. No matter how we do individually, we're still a team together. And I got that same vibe with these guys out in the outfield, where they're like, yeah, we may not get to play, but we're still really important to our team, so we got to support them. And their win is our win, and their loss is our loss. So that was a really cool gesture for the mangaka to put in there, to kind of express how important it is, whether you play or not, that you have that positive spirit. So that was really cool. But yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below on the episodes. I can't wait to see episode 13. What a cliffhanger, right? What a way to end a series. What a way to end a series of episodes. I'm super curious now to know what's going to happen with Chris and Sawamura, and going forward, who's going to get picked for the first string. I'm thinking, based on the OP, it's going to be Sawamura and Haruchi, but Chris is also in the OP, so I don't know. But in any case, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to you all again very soon with episode 13 of Ace of the Diamond. Bye.